Evening, everyone. The memes and the comics are telling. They're very telling in an election year. And when a politician is popular, they have fun memes with, like, they're pretending to be the Terminator, or they're walking away from a big explosion and they're the cool guy or whatever. You saw it with Obama. You saw it with, to an extent, Bernier. You see it with other popular politicians around the world. You see it all over the place with Trump. If you're a Trump supporter, they've got all sorts of memes. He's pulling up in a car. He's like, "Get in, we're saving the United States," or whatever. All these powerful memes. And when the comics are doing what they're doing to Justin Trudeau, there's a problem. If those liberals weren't sure before, man, a cursory glance at the comics, and yeah, it's incredible. So this is Justin Trudeau saying to China, "I can't just release Meng Wanzhou from jail in Canada. Politicians don't interfere in the rule of law." And he's got the other hand that's not shaking China's hand, covering Miss Wilson-Raybould's mouth. And yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. Here's another one, and heavy on the symbolism with this one. Wow, it kind of shook me up a little bit. I saw the red scarf and I was like, whoa, what is he saying? But it's got Justin Trudeau holding a red scarf or a red covering over Jody Wilson-Raybould's mouth, saying, "So Jody, what was it you wanted to say? Speak up." And it's very telling. This is the War Room, Warren Kinsella, and I'm blocked by him. I don't know why. What did I do to offend you, Warren? Sorry, man. Anyway, he says, "Lav scam, shocker coming." And it says, "Hearing a poll is coming. Hearing that the pollster started fielding before Lav scam erupted. Hearing that the pollster was also in the field for 2 days afterwards and caught plenty of the negative reactions Canadians are feeling. Hearing that there has been a significant shift, and not in a good way for Justin Trudeau at all." Right. And I cannot imagine, I still can't imagine how anybody could vote liberal. There are certain people, certain demographics who are incentivized to vote liberal. They're getting a bigger piece of the pie, the equalization pie or whatever. Trudeau is buying votes, but I still don't see how you can look at this, at what he's done over the last 3 years, compare it to his campaign promises and say, yeah, it's a mixed bag. No, it's a awful, dismal disappointment. What Justin Trudeau has done has been so short of expectations. It seems like he has tried to fail as spectacularly as he possibly could. And in that, maybe he succeeded? Possibly? I don't know. We've still got a couple months left. I'm loath to be shocked, but my goodness, buckle up. So if this poll is bad news for Trudeau, I feel it's good news for me. So, Potato Head is falling in the polls, hopefully. Pierre Poilievre, and I always get his name wrong. This whole video is so worth the watch. I'm only going to show you the stated facts by Mr. Poilievre, but the chair's reaction, maybe we'll show a little bit of the chair's reaction too. It's incredible. This whole thing is incredible. If it wasn't happening in Canada, well, I mean, not to say I wouldn't believe it, because it's government, right? And you have to believe the insanity that comes out of government. But my goodness, this is beyond the pale. I've never experienced such farcical governing in my life. And I'm not all that old, but I'm blown away. Here is Mr. Poilievre doing an excellent job at stating the facts of the SNC-Lavalin AG Jody Wilson-Raybould scandal as they stand right now, Valentine's Day, February 14, 2019. Here we go. Thanks for sticking with me.
So let's go back to the agreed upon facts and list them in chronological order. Fact: the Prime Minister slipped into an omnibus budget an amendment to the criminal code allowing large-scale corporate criminals to escape conviction and trial by signing a deal. Fact: that legislation was not introduced by the Justice Minister, even though it amended the criminal code, which is the purview of that minister. Fact: this committee had no role in studying that legislation. It went to the Finance Committee. Something that should concern you, Mr. Chair, and all members of this committee. Fact: after that legislation became law, the Director of Public Prosecutions decided not to offer a deal to SNC-Lavalin, which is charged with over $100 million of bribery and fraud. Fact, according to the lobbyist registry, the company changed its tune away from a legal approach to a political one, going to the PMO to seek political support to allow for a special side deal that would remove the possibility of conviction or trial for this $100 million worth of corruption. Fact, 14 meetings happened in the Prime Minister's office, including with PMO boss Gerald Butts. Fact, Mr. Butts in December and the Prime Minister at another occasion spoke about such a special deal with the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. And fact, not so long after that, the Prime Minister fired the Attorney General and moved her to another portfolio. Apparently, the conversations with her didn't go so well. Now, they say there's no political pressure. Do something, or you might lose your job. But hey, no pressure. Please, make your own decision.
Make your own decision. But if you make the wrong one, I'm going to fire you and shuffle you to Indian Affairs or Veterans Affairs. Right? Seems like pressure. Seems like pretty straightforward case of pressure. I'm going to show you the chair's reaction at the end of Mr. Poilievre's question. Hold on. Okay, here he is wrapping up his statement, and he's phrasing a question, I guess, kind of, and watch the chair's reaction. It's incredible.
Now, it's time that we let her speak. And isn't it interesting that this motion that the government puts forward does not include her name?
The government did not put forward the motion, Mr. Poilievre. The motion came forward from people who are Liberal members of this committee, and I have to correct you on that. I would correct you on multiple other points, but I'm trying to restrain myself.
Sure. You actually said we put it forward, so I presume that you're speaking with the rest of the we over there. But
okay, and I'm just gonna. It's just so funny to see. Like, this is our government. This is a very serious allegation. This is allegations that the Prime Minister himself and his office interfered in a very politicized case after they snuck in legislation to make the case possible. The AG said, yeah, I'm not going to use that tool. And then they fired her. This is big. And the government is snapping their fingers over process. It's funny. Again, if it wasn't happening to our government, it would be parody. It would be something to point and laugh at, right? Not really, but like, haha, they can't get it together. Holy cow. Our Liberal government is so lost that they don't even realize they've become the butt of the jokes, right? It's incredible. So go watch the rest of it. It's worthwhile. Here, do you recognize him? Yeah, he was the chair, right? So this is the icing on the cake for how out of touch these Liberals are. They think they're untouchable. And I mean, they've got a majority, right? So they kind of are. 12 crossing the floor to a coalition willing to work together. And I think the NDP is a part of that. Ms. Wilson-Raybould, if crossing to the Conservatives isn't palatable to you, maybe the NDP, maybe Jagmeet Singh would appreciate a seat because he doesn't look like he's getting the February 25th one. But this is just the icing on the cake to this whole thing. So Stephen Chase is tweeting out, Liberal MP says Wilson-Raybould might have lost justice post because she doesn't speak French, not because of SNC-Lavalin, via Globe and Mail. And we'll look at the Globe and Mail article here. Incredible. Just incredible. Liberal MP says Wilson-Raybould may have lost justice post because she doesn't speak French. Liberal MP who will chair hearings into the Jody Wilson-Raybould affair is raising the possibility that the Indigenous Canadian politician was removed as Justice Minister and Attorney General earlier this year because she couldn't speak French. Anthony Housefather, the Liberal chair of the House Commons Justice Committee, was speaking to Montreal radio station Thursday, trying to address allegations that Miss Wilson-Raybould was forced out of the justice portfolio over her refusal to shelve a prosecution against the Montreal construction giant, SNC-Lavalin. The Globe and Mail reported last week But when she was Attorney General, Ms. Wilson-Raybould had come under pressure from the Prime Minister's office to override the decision of the Public Prosecution Service of Canada and stay prosecution of SNC-Lavalin in favor of a deferred prosecution agreement, also called a remediation agreement without a trial. The company faces charges of bribing Libyan officials between 2001 and 2011 in exchange for contracts. SNC-Lavalin is currently seeking a judicial review of the Director of Public Prosecution's decisions. So they didn't like the Attorney General's choice. They fired the Attorney General, and SNC-Lavalin is using Canadian law to appeal the old Attorney General's decision. So the new Attorney General, whose riding happens to be where SNC-Lavalin is, gets to make the choice. No conflict of interest there, right? No problem. Back to the article. Opposition parties have alleged Ms. Wilson-Raybould lost her job as Justice Minister over SNC-Lavalin. Mr. Housefather, however, questioned this accusation. Quote, "The Prime Minister has the undisputed right to choose who is in what cabinet position," he told CJAD Thursday. "And there's millions of reasons why people can be shuffled from one position to another." He said the Federal Justice Department will be required to address numerous matters in Quebec in the months ahead and suggested that this might be the motivation for the shuffle. The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau needed a fluent French speaker. For example, there's a lot of legal issues coming up in Quebec, and the Prime Minister may well have decided he needed a Justice Minister that could speak French, Mr. Housefather said. So the idea that she was shuffled because of this unproven allegation, to me, is quite ridiculous. This tactic of trying to slander Jody Wilson-Raybould rather than to pay attention to the real scandal strikes me as weakness and desperation from this government, Mr. Nathan Cullen said, NDP de facto leader, the highest ranking NDP in the House. Ms. Wilson-Raybould quit cabinet earlier this week, only hours after Mr. Trudeau told reporters that her continued presence in the cabinet was an indication she was not unhappy with the government. She said solicitor-client privilege prevents her from speaking on the matter. So, yeah, it's not because there's a political decision that she made that the Prime Minister doesn't like. No, that's not it at all. It's because she's not bilingual. That's why. Yeah. That's why we needed the MP from the SNC-Lavalin riding to make the call. Yep, there we go. Boom. Again, if it wasn't happening to us, it would be farcical. It would be something that we'd see college kids protesting, save that third world country that can't get that dictator out. Trudeau's not working for Canada. And I hope the poll that is referenced here, Warren Kinsella, I hope this poll is as delicious as you're making it sound. I really do. Because I'd love to see the Liberals get no seats. I would love Canadians to reject this so soundly and understand so completely that he is selling us out, that all of the gains they made in 2015 are erased and everything else just wiped out. Never mind a minivan. I don't want them to fit on a unicycle. Thank you for watching, everybody. Check out the peoplespartyofcanada.ca. I think Maxime Bernier would be a much better leader than Justin Trudeau. Forget about his looks. I'm not worried about his looks. I'm worried about his ability to govern. And I think Maxime Bernier would do a much better job than Justin Trudeau. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful night.